With respect to taxation, I was saying, aviation trend. So over last months, almost 10 months, there was almost 1 lakh plus revenue collection. And all of a sudden, there's a dip in revenue collection around 93,000 crores. Okay, this is a factual stuff. So when you read the newspaper, suddenly you'll get now where to how it is important for our preparation or where does it fit in our syllabus. Okay, so GST, goods and service tax. You at least know the long term, right? So goods and service tax it is. So taxation. So you will be studying related to taxation and all the stuff in your economics. Okay. So brief idea with respect to taxation. What do you mean by tax? Tax is okay, revenue. Okay. Then okay. In return of service, yes. Want to say something? Yes. Resources, various sources use. Sources, which are the sources? Okay. Okay. Okay, all taxes. Okay, fine. So, yes, you're saying examples of taxes, you're saying what is tax? That's what you examples, all of it. Okay, tax, a financial obligation or a levy on a particular individual or organization, the industries or the people. Okay, so financial levy by the government. Again, I said in detail you will be studying in economics, but as of now you should understand what is the article is, all the stuff. So tax is a financial levy. So these taxes I said on individuals also, on organizations also. You also said we are giving a service, because of service we are paying the tax, and certain goods or on the roads also there will be and all the stuff. So taxes are classified into two types: direct tax and indirect tax. Okay, so you know that. You're saying it loudly, right? Can show the confidence. So what do you mean by direct tax and indirect tax? Okay, then indirect tax. How indirect? Hmm. Oh. All products, all manufactured products, the customer paid directly paying to the complete our product. Okay. It shows you all have idea of direct and indirect taxes. So direct. So direct taxes will be directly a person on whom it is levied will be directly paying it. So ನಿಮ್ಮೇಲೆ tax ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ you will be paying it. So that becomes a direct. So person on whom it is incident, he will be paying the money. So that becomes a direct tax. So on salaries, so your salary will be there. So on that particular part of that, you will pay the tax. So tax is on you and you are paying part of it. So that is a direct tax. So coming to indirect tax, so direct tax is imposed on income and profits that is earned by individuals and organizations, corporates. Okay. Whereas indirect tax, what happens is the tax is levied on goods and services. Okay. So goods and services will be there. The tax will be levied. But here, tax is levied on the goods and services. But who will be paying the tax again? People, consumers, right? So see here the incidence of taxes on goods and services, but who is paying? People are paying. So this is what indirect tax is. So it is levied on something, but people who are paying is other one. So businesses will collect and give it to the government. Okay. That is a basic meaning. In detail, all those stuff we'll be studying in economics. So direct tax, we have indirect taxes. So goods and service tax that you will find in the editorial is indirect tax. So indirect tax levied on goods and services. The name itself is goods and service tax. Right again, goods and service tax. So a certain background you should know, indirect taxes and all. So how we should, with respect to quality and with respect to economy. So first we will see with the economic point of view. See immediately now why they made it an editorial, because there is a fall in revenue. So that shows there is a issue that moment we don't earn enough, that is a issue, right? We need to have a certain amount. So even if the revenue falls, it is a concern from government. So why is a concern for government? Why should government worry? So all the tax amount goes to government. But if the fall in revenue, why should government worry? See, if I don't get enough salary, I will worry because I cannot meet my daily obligations, daily needs. I have to pay the rent, okay, all those expenditures. So why should government worry if it doesn't get the revenue? One second, you tell me. Facilities? Okay. What are facilities? What kind of facilities? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Any more examples? Can you elaborate? Fine, you ready? Okay. And the same points, so government has certain goals or the responsibilities, right? From social and economic point of view. So ಇದೆಲ್ಲ revenue ಬಂದಾಗನೇ they can distribute grains. So grains distribute ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ free ಆಗಿ they have to buy it, right? First paying the farmers. So revenue ಬೇಕು. And you said schools, right? Hospitals, right now COVID is there. So ಅಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ದುಡ್ಡು ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರಬೇಕು? We should have a revenue. And you talk about education, schools, government schools. So other issues are there with the government schools with respect to quality of education. But at least first there has to be at least infrastructure, basic infrastructure. So who will set? Government has to do it. Who will set the roads and all those stuff in rural areas? Government will do it, right? Not only that. So now COVID moment, see, whenever the downturn goes, economy is not doing well. If it is not doing well in the sense, people are losing their jobs. No more job, no more income. No, if there is no income, you will be conscious to spend, right? You will save your amount. So that means there is no demand in the economy. There is no demand for the goods in the economy. So economic activity will also go down because businesses will be watching, right? So people are not ready to buy, so we will also not produce more. So entire economic activity will go down. So who will do now activities? So employment has to be generated, because only when there is employment, people will earn the money, they will spend, there will be demand, then private sector will again invest, and all the stuff will go on cycle. But economic activity is now going down, private sector is not doing. So in such times, government will come. What government will do? It will invest. So it will invest on infrastructure, creation of roads. People will be employed, right? That will provide the jobs. So again, cycle in economic, jobs, income, demand. Then once this happens, private sector will also come. Again, they will invest. So whenever the economic cycle goes down, whenever there is a recession and all this stuff, it is the government who has to invest more. So you might have heard in newspaper, right? Government is coming out with packages and all, relief packages and all. This is the reason. Whenever there is a shock in the economy or lower economic activities, government will be coming to the aid of it. So this is the importance of revenue for government, from social importance, so addressing issues of people, and economic importance to keep the economic growth on a sustainable way. Whenever there is a fall in economic growth, government will invest, okay, and to address emergencies like COVID and all this stuff. So we can go on writing the points. Remember the broad areas. So why should we concern when there is fall in revenue of GST? Because these all things will be impacted. Government's ability to fund those all schemes will be impacted. That is why we should be concerned about. So indirect tax with respect to editorial tax, and I said goods and service tax is an indirect tax. So if you have heard the term one nation, one ration card, have you heard that? So this was a line taken earlier from a one nation, one tax. Okay. So GST is a based on the theme of one nation, one tax. So one indirect tax for the entire economy. Okay. One indirect tax, one nation, one tax, entire goods and services. So certain aspects you should know here to have a clarity. One nation, one tax. So earlier it means there were n number of tax. Okay. So n number of tax meaning and one nation, one tax entire and together state and center are together now charging the taxes. How they are charging together? We have a GST council. That body will fix the tax rates and all those stuff. But earlier, one nation, yes, GST council now, but earlier center was also levying taxes, even state was also levying the taxes. So why both were doing? Because our constitution provided taxation powers to both. Okay, so that is good thing because the economic power is equally important, right? Even for states. So financial power is equally important. So constitution has provided powers for the both, and good thing. But what has happened? Both are having the powers, so both are they will come out with different tax laws, right? Different taxes in and all those stuff. So state will be levying, center will be levying n number of taxes. State will be having its own n number of taxes because they have the power. They will do it. But what happens after this? One good is there. You have central tax, you have state tax. So what happens? So tax amount may increase for the particular good. So different n number of taxes will increase the price of a commodity, right? So that is not good for consumer. Understanding? So not good for consumer. Not only that, tax compliance should be there. Business person, he has to comply with all n number of taxes, right? So burden for him also, right? This is not a ease of doing business. Rather, you are torturing a person who is doing a business by making him to comply with all these taxes of center and state, right? So this is not a ease of doing business. That way he will be affected, and product value will also go up. That is all thing. And moment the price of a commodity goes down, I said different taxes will take the cascading effect, right? So state is also levying, center is also levying. So what is the amount of tax that is not all fixed? Means variation will be there. So that will lead to variation in the price of the goods. So likely that price of goods will go up. Now, because both together are levying one tax, they are discussing and together they are levying one tax, it is likely that the price of the commodities will come down. So this, what is the benefit of this? Moment the products become cheaper, people will consume more, right? So moment there is consumption more, again demand, that will boost the economy. Understood? That way it will also help. So the reason why we went for one nation, one tax is this. So I said all these issues from the business point of view, issues from the consumer point of view, issues from the government point of view also. The moment you have one tax, simpler tax mechanism, and a very low amount of tax rates, now together they are living very, compared to earlier times, the tax rate has come down. Moment tax rate has come down, different businesses who were earlier escaping the tax mechanism and all, they will also come now into the tax net, right? So that will in turn will increase the revenue for the government. You got the point. So reason for goods and service tax, one nation, one indirect tax was all these issues that was there in the tax area. Understood? Just remember the keywords for what was the issue with consumers? Products were costlier because of n number of taxes levied by center and state. How it is good for businesses? For businesses, easier tax compliance because just one tax compliance, they will be filing the documents and all. No need to file n documents for center and state. So easing their work, and even the tax rate will go down. Obviously, indirect taxes levied collected from the consumers. Then because cheap products will be there. That will increase the more demand, right? So that way it is good for the businesses. Are you understanding? If you don't understand, you should ask me, because sometimes facial expressions I cannot read well whether you are doubting or you are not understanding. Okay. ಇರುತ್ತೆ, but that is divided. Hmm. That is simplified mechanism. Na? Earlier there was n number of state law taxes, n number of central laws. Now all the indirect taxes have been clubbed. Center and state is divided. Revenue has been divided. GST is a one tax. Within that you have different slabs. In the sense, certain goods, the revenue will be shared as a central GST and state GST. You often get the slip, right? Hmm. You got it, alva. One the tax, so that revenue will be shared. This percent of you got it. Revenue will be shared. Obviously, because tax revenue has to be shared with the states, right? ಅದು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ. For direct taxes. That is not same, but here it is. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ವಾ ಏನೋ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು. So revenue will be shared. So it will be already decided together. They are deciding in GST councils. So GST council constitutional body ಅಂತ ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದೇನು GST is a significant economic reforms since independence. So that is why it becomes important. Prelims ಅಲ್ಲಿ they can ask direct, a factual stuffs. So factual stuff ಹೆಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ polity ಅಲ್ಲಿ you can this was a major reforms I said. So I said powers were distributed between center and states. So constitution did this, right? We have different list, right? Union list, state list, concurrent list. Powers will be divided among state and center. So constitution has done this. Now what you are doing, you are creating a new body, GST council. So something new you cannot just do like that. Constitution has to be amended. So that's why they came out with 101 Constitutional Amendment Act. So that factual stuff you should remember. 101 Constitutional Amendment Act is related to GST. Okay. Then that fact, and apart from that, provisions like 279 GST Council, that will also likely to be asked because it is a constitutional federal institution. So in prelims you can get it in, I think, see, economic discussion, more emphasis will be on the positives, benefits, and all those stuff. But then if they are discussing in polity, we should know the provisions, and GST council can be asked, because there will be sometimes, GST council not coming to the decision and all those stuff. See, federal institution, all state ministers will be coming, central government will be having. So if the differences arise, then what will be the thing? So differences are likely to arise, right? In fixing the taxes. So how the federal government will work, a federal institution, example for cooperation. So cooperation is necessary between center and states. So these all analysis there you can use there all. So in polity you will link there. In economics, importance of one indirect tax, you should know that. Prior to that, this becomes more analytical part. Prior to that, you should know basic stuff. What is tax? So financial levy. So different types of tax, direct, indirect. So direct tax on the incomes and profits, indirect tax on the goods and services. So with respect to indirect taxes, center and state had n number of laws. So that was a complexity. Now that we are removing that complexity because consumer, businesses, government will have n number of benefits if you make just one indirect tax. Got the point? So that is why GST we had come out with. Remember the facts, and in 2017, July 1st, GST came into force. Sometimes questions are asked with respect to GST, which of the statements are correct. GST came to effect in 1st July 2017, or Constitutional 101 amendment or Constitutional 102 amendment. Small facts only. But if you're not sure, you might make it wrong. So I hope if you read that article, you will be able to understand it. I think, have you anyone read already? If you are already read, means then you will get the doubts, right? Now you will not be able to ask me questions also. You read that article, so basic knowledge of tax you have, okay? Simple things only. Then you can analyze on that. The other article, there was with regards to Afghanistan, I guess, the side article there. Dangerous prospects in Afghanistan, I guess. Dangerous prospects in Afghanistan, right? Okay, so what is the issue? Have you read? Yogesh, have you read the article? Okay. So you know what is at least going on in Afghanistan? What is going on? Okay. So you know this stuff. So why did they come in the first place? Okay. ವಾಪಸ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ರು. Okay. So hmm. So basic stuff you know. Uh, they have flood. So this you are right. So ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. Afghanistan ಅಲ್ಲಿ US troops they are withdrawn. Okay. So you said for defending the Afghanistan. Okay. So why did they initially come there? And reason and that will be a question you should ask when you read now. So why did they initially come? You should know the reason. Then now they are living. Okay. So what was the impact? Did they achieve anything? That is the point. Then what will be the implication for India? Because India's neighbor means, see, this is what you will be having the international relations in your GS. Okay. So whatever happens in the world, if it is related to India, questions can be asked. So Afghanistan neighbor, so something happens in our neighbor will have implications on us also, right? So there you will be linked the topic. So India Afghanistan relations or India's importance or the significance that it holds for our region in Central Asia, that you can link. Okay. So reason Afghanistan in the sense terrorism is an issue. Okay. You know the recent drone attack to on Indian Air Force Station. Have you read? Okay, leave about it. Mumbai attacks, 2008, right? So Mumbai attack. Prior to that, there was a Parliament attack on Parliament of India. There was an attack in the same way on US also. World Trade Organization centers. You know that picture, right? Two tall buildings and airplane crashing. That was a terror attack. So what was the reason? Al Qaeda was they said Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda. So what these US thought is that Al Qaeda Osama bin Laden was protected by Taliban in Afghanistan. So they requested to submit that person, but they did not accept it. That is why Afghanistan invaded. So this was the reason, but it will be said. Uh, this you cannot write in this way. How we should present answer is to protect the democracy, to avoid using lands as a terrorist sanctuaries. ಈ ತರ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. ಆ ತರ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆನಾ? So that will be a safe reason to protect the democracy, to avoid using certain lands as a safe grounds for terrorists. So that's why they invaded, and they were not successful because after 20 years, Taliban is there, still it is strong, and rather they are negotiating with Taliban itself. Okay, so that is the thing. Guerrilla warfare, seen in our security challenges and all, we have covered this. You can watch that video. It is there. And the issue is, what becomes importance is a crisis in Afghanistan. So we face terrorism attack. Terrorism is an issue. A number of examples we have. So moment Taliban gets stronger, they have links with the Pakistan. So now the ground may become fertile ground for terrorists to carry out, terror attacks in India. Got the point? So that will be a security concern for India. So India, so see, one time war is fine or one attack. 20 years US fought there and it left. It did not win, right? So think of the situation if India has to fight such a terror attacks for 20, 30 years. We have huge, certain social developments we should do, economic developments we should do. We have limited resources, right? What will, if that this kind of security issues comes up, what can India do? It has to strengthen up its security equipments, military and all. Then all the resources will go there. Then how will you take care of your people? Resource constraint is there, right? Enough resource revenue and all is there. That also, because security challenges will give rise to all these problems also. So US living, rise of again Taliban, so that will have a security implications for India. Got the point? Read that article again, because I am not going through the article. I know the issue that I highlighted. When you read, if you get any doubts, something related to editorial, that article, you can ask. Okay. Yes. Why did they withdraw in the sense? See, for people, you have to pay the salaries. Okay. Okay. These people, so many people are employed in this. And what are you earning? If you are getting any returns, you can pay them continuously. So you are endlessly involved in a war, no results, no gain. What is the point of doing that? See, that's what this was the initial thought. And see, if you have access to very rich oil areas, if your military base is there, presence is there, so you can control global trade. But as of now, that significance is not there in Afghanistan. You will only stay when there is benefit, right? This is a natural law. Interest will matter more, right? So they're not gaining and endlessly involved in a war, because guerrilla warfare, this right? Two armies will come together, one they will fight and finish. Terrorist attacks will go on endless. So when will the war end? So taking that all pragmatic, practical things into consideration, they are withdrawing. And this is a serious implication if at all, terrorism activities flourish again in Taliban, means in Afghanistan. Okay. So read that article. If you get any doubts from the article, you can ask me tomorrow. And apart from that, there is one more same in the same editorial, I guess, with respect to new phase, right? Phase, with respect to same only Council of Ministers. Council of Ministers. So new people have been made ministers and all those stuff. So Council of Ministers, actually these are executives. Okay. So we, basically, if you are not yet studying the polity, then we have three branches of government: legislative, executive, and judiciary. So legislative will be those people who make the laws. Executive will be implementing. Judiciary will see the actions of executives and the laws of the judiciary, whether they are according to the provisions of the constitution or not. So these three functions, three bodies. So why I'm saying this, because basic things you should know who are council of ministers. These are coming under the category of executives. Okay, so you will be electing so many people, MLAs, MPs. So these are legislatures. Not all elected members will become an executive. So only few people will be taken into will be made as a ministers. So they will be a council of ministers. So they are the executives. And this executive strength is limited to the 15% of total strength of the house. So we have in parliament 543 seats. Okay, Lok Sabha. So number of people getting elected into Lok Sabha, 543 people are there. But the number of people whom you can make ministers is just 15%. You should not exclude 15%. So there is a earlier this limit was not there, but the constitution was amended, 91st Constitutional Amendment Act. So it made that Council of Ministers should be restricted to 15% only. You cannot do it more. If you read that article, now the present number of Council of Ministers goes to 78. So almost near 81. 81 is the threshold. Okay, up to there it is 78 now. Remember that. And what is the significance of keeping this threshold is, see, why the state and all stuff is governance. Governance means managing affairs of the entire state, affairs of the people in all the spheres. But issue is, what happens is government, rather than managing the affairs of the state, they become involved in politics. Means whenever there is the issue in the government, if you are creating an issue, I will give you a post, I will make you a minister, so that my government will be stable. You will support my party and we will be in a power. Okay, so people started playing. There was an issue of like you will come across an anti defection and all this stuff. So rather than focusing on governance, what was the issue was, political parties or the government got involved in maintaining the stability of the government. See, government will be there for 5 years only if it has support of all the ministers. Okay, parliament, its members and all those stuff. But some people will threaten that I will withdraw the support and all those. So in that case, government make ministers. So this is a normal process goes on. So political. So this should not be a concern. So such issues should not prop up, right? So you should focus on addressing the issues of people. Rather, you are involving in fighting with yourself, maintaining the government and all those stuff. So to avoid such situation, they have capped it at 15%. So even if the issue arises, okay, this is a cap, you cannot go beyond. So that is, you have a reason to say, right? That was the intention of keeping it at 15%. Read that article again. And Council of Ministers, Executives, Cabinet, 91st Constitutional Amendment Act, again related to political stability, you will come across coalition government also. Coalition government in the sense, a government is there, but it is not consisting of people from one party only. They will form a government, like in Karnataka, BJP. You know that famous, like 2020 government, Kumaraswamy and Yediyurappa, Maitri Sarkar. So different political parties are forming the government. So we call it as coalition governments. Okay. So different political parties, coalition government. So movement, in this coalition, these people will threaten, I have 10 people with me. If you don't give a minister, I will leave the party. So rather than addressing people issue, they are, involved, focused in maintaining the government only. So all those stuff can be avoided. So that is why the constitutional limit is there of 15%. Understood? That you see, and anything else? These are part of executives, the organs of the government. You should know that. Implement them. Anything else you want to ask? Yesterday, one student had asked me with respect to, if you recollect, civil registration system. Neha, I guess. See, there was nothing but population. Population momentum also she asked, and with respect to civil registration system. So basic fact only, there is nothing. Civil registration system in the sense, a new birth will happen, new death will happen. These all should be registered. Why should we register all this? Because see, all the government is running the schemes. We should have the idea of our population, right? So all these, to have that idea of population, all these details are necessary. So for that, we have civil registration system. So all related census related stuff comes under Register of General. Okay, Census Commissioner is the Register of General Census Commissioner. He is dealing with all the census, and he comes under Minister of Home Affairs. Remember that fact also. Because new census, those all stuff might be in the news 2021 and all. So under Ministry of Home Affairs, we have Register of General and Census Commission. There he started with the civil registration system in 1979, 1975, 1969, I'm sorry. So initially a pilot project, then it got evolved. Basic things and you will understand. You have an act to, make it legally that you should register births, you should register deaths. That is me. And sample registration system is also there. Same lines, number of deaths, number of births, number of women who are dying, a number of children who are dying within 1 month of their birth and all this stuff. We call it as mortality rates. Infant mortality, neonatal mortality, maternal mortality, birth rate, death rate. These are the terminologies. So these all data will be kept under these surveys. So finally, you will get a figure of population. That was the thing. I told yesterday only, but I was not knowing the particular years, right? Factual stuff. That's why I repeated. Then population momentum. So I hope you understood. It's a yes only now because tired, I guess. So read those three articles. If you get any doubt, you can ask me again. Okay. Okay, then shall we end here? I think yeah, can end. Chalo, thank you. Online students, it is not that audible. Even give. Chalo, then we will wind up. Thank you. Have a good day.